Like first thing is you have to get the operating system image itself. It can be the latest branch, like इसमें रोज कुछ ना कुछ change हो रहा है. It can be a stable branch, and it can be something in beta or alpha, right? So this is first thing you have to do. Obviously, if you are testing something, you might not like कि आपका primary system रोज का बाहर होता है. It might be unstable, so yeah, use a virtual machine. It just allows you to run another operating system in the one you are currently using. So boot into a VM.
So अभी जो आपने कर्नल इंस्टॉल किया है तो वो ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम के कर्नल को अपडेट किया उसने.
हाँ, exactly.
ओके, तो हमने फंक्शनैलिटी जो बेसिक फंक्शनैलिटी चेक कैसे करी, जैसे आपने कर दिया.
See, what kernel does it forms the heart of the operating system. So if there is some issue with the kernel, it might be your operating system just might not boot. Even when you you're tracking your mouse, it's not working. The keyboard key presses are not working. So it affected your basic functionality. You cannot use the system anymore. So this was some. If everything works fine, good. So for release validation part, boot into a VM, start Fedora, install it. Wow, the download just completed. So yes, here it is. Let me show you. So yeah, the current release that is being filed for release is 25. So certainly testing will be going on for that. So how it actually goes is, like we went to a wiki. It tells कि हमारी कौन सी वर्जन के ऊपर ये टेस्ट केसेस हैं. It's 7th of August. पे जो इमेज रिलीज करी है फेडोरा की, ये टेस्ट केसेस उसके लिए बिलोंग करते हैं. Now what happens here is there is a test matrix. First they tell you कि आप इनमें से कोई एक डाउनलोड करो या सारी डाउनलोड कर लो. If you have the bandwidth of having 20 GB to download, go for it. Then there is the test matrix which says MediaKit checksum, ISO size, repo closure finalities. What actually I will just explain you in a brief detail. MediaKit checksum. I downloaded an image. Was it valid? Did the download complete properly or was it corrupted in between? So that is the MediaKit checksum. It validates your download. It validates the image. वो match करती है उसके original checksum से, original version से. There's ISO size. Linux images are usually 700 MB for CD, 1.5 GB for DVD, and something in left or right of this could be a bug in packaging itself, which can be compressed or some packages can be removed. So how you can actually perform this thing? I click on this, like MediaKit ISO size. There is a description of the test, which I just told you, like testing the size of the ISO file. How to? Important. They have provided the steps to run this test, like how you can work on this. Okay, there are two ways you can do this. You can run it manually. You can use the automatic tool known as RELVAL, which stands for Release Validation. This tool, followed by the type of test you want, size check, it will run the test for you, collect the results and put it on the test page with your name automatically. So that's my username. Okay. Okay, so Delval size check. I'll just run the command and there is some issue with my login, I guess, so it's not allowing me. But that's all you have to do. It will test it for you and put the results on the wiki. And then there are test cases which you have to perform manually. Like this system cannot perform your testing of having, okay, I have a test of logging in. Certainly you're logged in. How can Delval perform that for you? You have to test it manually, update that result on the wiki. So, like this is something which I would say happens manually. You are doing it, but if there are one release every day, people will get bored. You cannot test each and everything on a daily basis. To work on that, what the committee did was they released two tools. What these two tools do is, what you are doing manually, they do it automatically for you. They get the image, install it automatically, and then automatically control its UI and checks the result. These two tools are AutoQA and Taskotron. Like whenever you submit a new project to the Bodhi system, it gets validated by Taskotron. It checks for sanity, it checks कि वो valid है या नहीं है, क्या वो compile हो रहा है या नहीं हो रहा, and then it comes to Bodhi. AutoQA, it checks for each and every release validation. Operating system का आया release, वो install करा, उसका user interface सही था, expected था या नहीं था. That is what AutoQA does. And trust me, once you get into automated now, it's very addictive. Really. Like you are just automating things, writing things, just sit back and relax. Your system will do the work for you. Whenever there's a new release. And you are like, yeah, I did that while sleeping. So, this is about automated testing. And, okay, so one thing goes is, Fedora, quality assurance, you can explore this. That is, this was something I had to give a basic idea. Talking about Git, Git. Okay, so in open source or even proprietary or anything like that, GIT is important. At least now. Like as he said, 2 GB of source code was there to download. And once the download stops, damn, you have to restart it again from the beginning. GIT can certainly prevent this thing from happening with you. I won't just say anything like no, and I will just show it that like I'm just creating a new directory and I will be using one of my projects which I have published on GitHub related to performance testing. So I'm just creating a directory like okay, and GitHub is, it is an online web service which maintains your code for you. Whenever you update it, you can just push the changes to the code base there, and other people can use it right from there. It basically provides a UI. Git is a service. GitHub provides a UI over that to use that service. So like this is here. So this was one project I worked on for testing performance of a system. What it actually does is it tests your system. It tests you कहाँ पे lag कर रहा है, कहाँ पे नहीं कर रहा है, and what's the reason. So this is one project I have used Git for. Okay, so using Git, there are some small steps involved, and if someone really wants to write it down, they can. But at the end, you will have to try it yourself. So first thing comes is, I want to let the system know कि इस particular folder के अंदर I want to work with git. How? The thing is how the system will know. So to work with git, there is a command known as git. So I want to let the system know git initialize. It initializes the Git system in my current folder. The command is init. Git init, and there is a message initialize empty git repository in the following folder. Okay. So this is now my system knows कि इस वाले folder के अंदर जो मैं काम कर रहा हूँ, it is related to git. Now how to get forward with this? Okay, so this was my project. That there is an option to clone or download. Okay, so I just click on this. Clone by default. I copied the link to the clone. Next is from where do I want to work. अगर मेरा ये प्रोजेक्ट है, ये GitHub जैसी किसी सर्विस पर है, तो वो सर्विस पे कहाँ पे लोकेटेड है? I need to provide that URL to the system. How I can do this is git remote. What happens here is you are telling git to link a resource which is located somewhere else in the world on your system. Git remote add and give this link a name. Like I give it the name origin. Feel free, like you can give it anything, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, what you want, followed by the link. I copied, entered. Okay. Now the next thing comes is, मैंने सिस्टम को बता दिया कि I want to work with git. मैंने सिस्टम को बता दिया कि उसका कोड उसको कहाँ से मिल सकता है. Now how to get that code to me? Get the code to the system. It is very simple, literally. Git pull. But what? The name you gave previously. I gave it origin. So what it did was in the background, it went to the repository, found all the files that were present there, downloaded it for me, and added it to my system. Now, if I check my folder, this was the one I created. Okay, so wait. Oh, sorry. Since I downloaded the whole thing at once, there is a concept of like branches in Git. Let's say like I am working on one feature, he is working on one feature, he is working on one feature. What I can do is I can just clone that source code into three different parts, identical three different parts. On one part I can work, on one part he can work, on one part he can work. And then when everything is ready, we merge the three parts into one. That's the concept of branching. So right now all my code lives at the master branch. It is by default created for the Git, and all the code lives initially in the master branch until unless you specify it somewhere else. How you can use the master branch now? Git checkout master. I don't have to give the name of the original repository origin. I can just write master and branch master setup to track. And as soon as load tag, my folder got populated with the files. These are the files which I worked in my project actually. Okay, so the thing is, why not a zip file every time? There is a 100 MB source code which is being shared with my team. I was working on it. I shared an update. Immediately I found out after uploading the code zip file, oh no, this one thing was missing. I changed that comment. Now what? I have to re-upload the whole 100 MB code. Git prevents you from this. It will just take that one line, update it to the repository, and each and everyone using that can just download that one particular line of code and it will be updated. No 100 MB upload, no 100 MB download at all. So you are at an advantage of this. Plus, as a developer, it might be कि हमने कुछ लिखा, वो गड़बड़ हो गया, या तो उसको ढूंढते रहो और इंडिविजुअली हर फाइल में से निकालो उस कोड को. मैंने फंक्शन गलत डाल दिया था, मैं इंडिविजुअली हर फाइल में जाऊंगा उस फंक्शन को डिलीट करूंगा. What git allows me is git revert and the commit number. The commit is something which you have pushed to the server, the system, the changes. Git revert change number. All the changes, like if you have like modified 70 files, those 70 files will be reverted to the previous state. So you are at advantage. Manual काम सारा बच गया. So this is one reason you can use Git for. Okay, so a simple example. Like here it is. There is this run.py. I modify one line in this thing. Like I know this is my project, so this particular line is not functioning right now. What I do is I delete this. Save, and now my project is modified. I want कि ये वाला जो project है मेरा, ये मेरे server पे reflected होए. GitHub पे जो link था, वहाँ पे ये change visible होए. What I do is I go to the terminal, type git status. What it shows is modified run.py. The color has a meaning. Red means this change is currently not present in the original repository. You have not added it. So what I do next is I add this thing. Git add dot means all the changes get added in this repository. I have added, let's see, green, it means the change is there in the repository now. I can commit it. Git commit m. M is for giving the message. Modified run.py. What message serves is, अगर हमारा कोई टीम मेंबर है, he should know कि हमने चेंज क्या करा था. Like so here it is. At that is showing one file change, one deletion. Now the Git didn't push the whole file. It just removes that one line. And when I send it, like I can send it now to my GitHub. Git push origin. Origin was the branch I started with. Origin and where. I want to send it to the master branch. Origin master. Enter. Username for GitHub. My password, it asks for mine. What happened was, it took that change, sent it to the server for me. Also while sending, trying to reduce the size of data to transmit, it compressed the changes. Like if the file was huge, it might 100 MB file might just get converted to a 50 MB while pushing. So you also save on the bandwidth. Now I have pushed this change. It should be visible over my GitHub account. So I go to my GitHub, I refresh it. This was the thing. I open this change, and it is showing me that I removed this line from my code. Helpful enough? So how it can help you with open source, with the projects? So the thing is, most of the projects are currently based on Git. If you go for Mozilla, if you go for Fedora, Git is present. Use it. Don't download the zip file of the source code, because there might be a data connection but is not stable enough. Git can allow you that. Like there are commands. The system is built on, like, let me give you one example which I faced. I was working on Android project. The source code is 20 GB to download with all the previous commits. 20, really my limit was 10 GB for the net. I can't download the whole thing exactly in a month. So what I do was, I downloaded 10 GB. I stopped it. Now next month when my limit was there, I continued using the tool which was built on Git, which was based on Git. So what happened was that 10 GB was saved and the source download continued from that point. Git can help you with that. It can help you with your connection stability because it can save a snapshot. So use that. When you are going to contribute at the end, you cannot send the community a zip file containing 2 GB of source code. You are said that please submit us that particular piece of code which you have changed, not the whole project. Plus our community has many people working on it. So while you are working to fix something, there might be other people who have already fixed things. And those changes, like will you download the whole code 3 times or 4 times a day to be updated? No, you can't. So Git can help you with that also. Just issue a GIT pull. The changes are there on your system. Work on it. Cool enough with that. So, like some things which got clear enough for the time being. Doubts, anything like that.
जो रिलेटिव वैल्यू आपने करा था उसके बारे में थोड़ा एक्सपैंड करेंगे? रिलेटिव वैल्यू जो ISO कंपेयर करी थी,
Relval वाला.
हाँ.
Okay, so the Relval tool is, it is like some tests which are not too complicated to perform, like a size check of an ISO image. How do you think a size check might happen? Open the file, read the first point, read the last point, calculate the size. The difference between first and last position. Certainly, this can be implemented using a program. So what they do is, Relval is a small tool built upon Python. It performs those commands which can actually calculate the size of the file, test it for you. At the end, what happens is, they calculate the size, submit it to the database. They submit it to the database automatically. It's a small tool basically which helps you, but it can't be used to perform each and everything. At the end, there will be tests which you have to perform manually, installation or enabling virtualization or something like that. So there is a small tool just to perform some small tasks and tests in release validation.
और वो जैसे उसमें 6 के करीब टेस्ट थे जो आपने ट्राई किया था, कर्नल में 6 टेस्ट थे, तो वो बाकी कैसे परफॉर्म करने थे?
See, the thing is, say that I was testing kernel. It was filed with the Bugzilla report. Let me just show you Bugzilla. So for Fedora, the place where it reports the bugs is bugzilla.redhat.com. All you have to do is create an account here. It is a separate account from your Fedora account. Plus try, since it's Bugzilla, your email address will be open. So try to give an email address which is not your too important of email address, like where you get too much of important emails in you, because it might just get spam. So you create an account, search for existing bug reports. Saying it like people have reported their issues to the Fedora project by filing a report in the Bugzilla. Whenever you encounter something like something crashed, something didn't work properly, search Bugzilla. If the report it is already been reported, good. If not, go forward, report it. Tell them how it happened, how were you affected with it. Someone eventually will follow that, help fix it. So this is like lambda and C types causes memory error exception in PIL. Okay, I will just read it back at home. So these are the kind of bugs. It can be like Fedora didn't install properly, AAP partitioning error at this point of time. That's a bug. So this is how the Bugzilla works. These test cases now. These are mentioned in the Bodhi package testing. So what it is, you click that Bugzilla report, you will be redirected to this page. Here it will be written how you can reproduce that bug. Like click on file menu, the menu appears blank. So in the latest release, the menu worked fine. Bug fixed, you give a +1. Still it is appearing empty, give a -1 in that case. This is about testing. Now there are some packages like libraries. Obviously, how are you supposed to test a C library which draws a circle for you? Like will you make a program using that? But what you can do is sometimes you can test it. मैंने ये C library डाउनलोड करी, मैंने अपना सिस्टम रीस्टार्ट करा, सिस्टम वर्क फाइन, मुझे कोई इशू नहीं दिखे. This update was generally functional. You just give +1 on general functionality. You don't go deep into the each and individual test case. Just do that. Just tell them I have tested this part. There is no compulsion you have to go through each and every test case. There is no compulsion कि अगर यहाँ पे 10 cases mentioned है तो 10 के 10 तुम्हें evaluate करनी है. The thing about open source is it's all about your own time. If you have time doing something, do it. If you don't have time, don't. No one is there to force you कि please कर दो. Easy level projects. Okay, so like if I say you can go for just search for projects looking for open source contributions. You will get a proper list. There are some projects like Tuxedo, TUXEDO. Then there is Tux for Kids and Neon Lamps project. These are some very new projects. Mozilla Servo is also there. If you know Python, if you know Rust, it's a pretty new project. You can start contributing there. It actually, the thing in contribution goes is a community. which is supporting the project. If the community is responsive enough, you might not even feel lost in a big project, because there will be someone who will be guiding you in the initial steps. There will be someone who will be helping you how to start. But if the community is not there, you just might be stuck like, where should I start, even if it's a new project. Because in the starting, everyone requires something to know about, someone who can help them. So yeah, search projects which have a good community, which are active for the time being. I should say like there's Mozilla, they have a lot of big projects. I won't say that the projects are small, but yeah, there are many projects which are beginner friendly also. Start with Fedora, like there is QA. It doesn't require you to have a knowledge of development and all. You can go to the quality assurance mailing list, introduce yourself. People there will be helping you out from where you can start. There are blog posts, there are video tutorials from where you can start. Like how I started with QA was, there is this person I got in touch with. He introduced me completely to the quality assurance part, for which I was speaking right. He provided me the links, he provided me the demo from like how can I go to Bodhi, how can I create my account, how can I contribute forward. I started QA. Eventually, while I was contributing QA, I explored performance testing, I explored kernel level works, I explored the community operations. So slowly you get to know about the community. And the better you know it, the better you will know where you can contribute, where you fit. But start from somewhere. Search there, and yeah, do remember one thing, like there are a lot of competitions which are based on open sources. There is Google Summer of Code. Google Summer of Code is a competition which happens annually, and you are required to submit your proposals for open source project, work for them, and for that they are, says like, you are not even doing it for free. They are supporting your time, they are valuing your time, they are paying you for that. See, the projects that come to Google Summer of Code, they range from absolute beginner level to from there to there. The range is very wide. How to find those beginner level projects? That you can find only after you explore. When you know about communities, when you know about projects, then only you can say, yeah, this is something I can do. Even I say like, if I know JavaScript very well, there might be a very hardcore project out there, but I might feel comfortable with that because I know the technology behind it, so I can work on it. So it all depends like from when you start, where you start. But introduce yourself, let the work start from any time. Anything else?
Like you give the example of 10 GB we download now and 10 GB next month. How do you do that?
Okay, so for Android, there is a tool known as Repo tool. Repo. It is also built on Python using GIT as its base. What it does is, it downloads the packages one by one. Like it starts with like framework, it downloads, saves it. Next download, saves it. Next download, saves it. Now I drop the connection. क्या होगा? 10 पैकेजेस तो मेरे डाउनलोड हो गए थे, सेव हो गए थे. 10 बचे हुए हैं मेरे. तो अगली बार वो 10 को बाकी को डाउनलोड करेगा. Why will it start from that initial? Why will it start from the initial part when it is already done? This was how it managed that. And there are these type of tools which are available for other projects also. So this is how you can go for. Like the bug, the issue you faced, one of my friends also faced that. He was trying to contribute to, I guess, Mozilla Gecko project. Gecko was there. So he was trying to contribute to that, but like there is MPLN connection which drops more than it works while downloading. So he was also stuck on that. So they actually worked on, he didn't download the whole history. He started from downloading the first reference, other reference, then one more incrementally. So hopefully the MTL connection also worked for it. At the end he migrated from MTL. So this was anything else? Git, FOSS, Fedora, maybe anything else?
Can you show an example of how the Google Summer Code projects were signed?
Yeah, sure. Wait, I will just show you the current this year's version of GSOC. Like this year also, this was the first time actually I went for GSOC. Although I wasn't selected for any project because the proposal I submitted was like at the end of the deadline. Yes, while working for GSOC also, keep one thing in mind. Submit your proposal as soon as possible. Don't wait for the last minute. It will hamper you. Hamper your chances of getting selected. Because at the end there are n number of applications to be reviewed and they don't get much attention at the end. You don't get suggestions, you just submit it. So like these are the projects this year, and it's a really big list. Scikit-learn was there. It is a Python framework for scientific purposes. There was a centralized library for convex optimization and clustering analysis tools. So these are just a few. Like there are also for front-end development is there. There's web development projects also from FOSS Asia. So you can always have it. Conferences happen on very quick basis. Like there is Python Foundation PyCon happening in September. There are other conferences that happen through Mozilla, happen through Fedora, happens through kernel development teams all over the world. LinuxCon, a conference for Linux enthusiasts and people who work for Linux. DEF-CON, security conference. So get that. When you work, you get to explore, you get to know new things. So anything else?
After me, on which project to work on?
Right.
How can I approach that project and
See, when you want to work, like when I wanted to work on Fedora, how do I got started with it? I know about Fedora. I just search about how can I contribute to Fedora. There was a wiki link which mentions where I can contribute. Like it is looking for quality assurance, it is looking for this and that. This thing. And then I work on, I went to forward on the mailing list, introduce myself. Yes, I am Saurabh. I am currently doing my BTech. I work on these technologies. I have these skills. I want to work in this field of your project. And this is how I got started. Identify कैसे करना है अपने लिए? It is based on you. क्या चीज तुम्हें इंटरेस्ट करती है? तुम्हें क्या आता है? What are you willing to learn? And what personally interests you? It might be मेरे को Fedora इंटरेस्ट करता है, सब किसी को ना करे. It might be किसी को Mozilla इंटरेस्ट करता है, मुझे ना करे. It's completely dependent on the person.
and on which basis the mentors select the project?
On which basis? How much the community knows you? Were you active before GSOC in the community? Have you contributed to other projects like this? What's the practical knowledge? There might be other factors also which I don't know. I was like not in the selection team. So, but these factors do matter. These are the general guidelines which communities put up. Like get involved with the community. Because if a person doesn't know, if a mentor doesn't know you, why will they select you? This is the. So I guess that was all. No queries. So regarding this session, like it was a very introductory session to FOSS and Fedora. Afterwards, if someone is contributing, we will be having a call, Hangout call, 15 days after this. The call will be taken by me as well as one more person. Who that person is? The person is right now interning at Red Hat Bangalore. He is one of the person who is also contributing to Fedora project, and he is also an open source enthusiast. He will be guiding you if you are stuck somewhere, if you want to know something else. I will just wait for the time and I will just provide you the contact details where you can reach us, reach me or reach him as an individual, how you can get started with the introduction part of yours. Just get on the community and tell them. So, like, yeah. These are some resources. Like you can visit the following websites like saurav.blog. It's where I write about open source and the projects I work on. And then there's sumanthroin.blogspot.in where you can go, you can find the stuff about quality assurance, release validation, how to get started with Fedora, how to get started with Mozilla, open source, how to become a contributor. So these are 2 resources. Plus, I will just give you the mail IDs. These are the 2 IDs. You can contact us if you are in some doubt, if you are stuck somewhere, and if you feel lost while contributing, like where you can go forward. So you can just contact us over here. Anytime, you will certainly get a reply. For sure. So I guess this was all about the session.